All right there, everyone. We have a very, very special guest with us today. I know many of you are really interested in getting into the world of cryptocurrency. And my guest today knows his crypto like no one else. I want to introduce you to Jerremy Newsome. Jerremy is a super successful financial mentor. Over the last decade, he's been helping people achieve financial independence through mentoring them in stocks and crypto markets. And he's going to be doing an awesome webinar. I'll be there on cryptocurrency and how you can use it for your own financial freedom. The webinar is on Tuesday, November 16th at 2 p.m. Absolutely free. And you can register simply by clicking on the link below. Like I said, I'm going to be there taking notes right along with you. When Jerremy speaks, I listen, right? It's like the old E.F. Hutton. So Jerremy is here right now to help shed some light on for what many of us is a very confusing topic, cryptocurrency. So Jerremy, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, man, being back again, number two. This is so
number
thrilling.
two. That's right, man. And of course, we've been doing our virtual conferences together and every few months. So it's been great. And we were chatting before the video. I really appreciated your last talk on cryptocurrency. It's actually impacted me, as I shared with you. So I hope it impacts everyone else as well. So,
well, it's an honor and privilege to be here and to pour into the patriots who are here and who are watching this, who are ready to be a force multiplier.
Amen. Amen. I love that force multiplier. Well, in midst of that kind of frame, which I think is wonderful, the contrast is that people obviously are experiencing a lot of anxiety right now, particularly economic anxiety. There's a lot of volatility and uncertainty, supply chains interrupted. You got the so-called great economic reset going on. There's concerns about skyrocketing inflation. Can you give us your aerial view, your best sense of the lay of the land with regard to our economy right now? And what opportunities do you see that are specific to cryptocurrency that can benefit us in the midst of all that?
Absolutely. And I think the best way to really get into that discussion is like the aerial view. I'm going to take, again, I don't know if it's a popular or unpopular position, but I have to speak what I think is the truth. If we go back about 100 years ago, we had another pandemic that I believe was most unscrutinably worse than the current one that we're experiencing, the Spanish flu. That was around 1918. After that took place, everything was better. Everyone got healed. We had the Roaring '20s, and a lot of people were extremely exuberant in buying and investing and over leveraging and over margining positions. And you had the huge move that led up to the Great Depression in the late 1929 era. I think, Steve, I think we're in that now. I think we're in the Roaring '20s again, but we're at the beginning of it. Because here's the thing, when the masks come off, hopefully, please, and when all of this stops becoming an issue and people can start traveling and spending a little bit more freely and going into their store of choice without having to worry, hopefully, vaccination or not, if this can all at some point be swept under the rug, which I think there's a chance of that happening. Small chance, if the right people are informed, if the right people are doing the right things and reading the right things and being a part of the right media, if this can happen, people are going to be celebrating and traveling and exuberant, and they're going to be spending money. And that's going to lead to, I think, and again, this is an unpopular opinion, a really prosperous next 8 or 9 years. Yes, we can have a decent correction and decent pullbacks in that time frame. But just looking at the overall economic impact, man, of just how horrible the world has been just devastated by this entire issue, when all of it gets a little bit fixed, and I think it's going to be patchworked for now, you'll have some really great prosperity, but there is going to be something about 8 or 9 years from now that is going to cripple not banks and companies this time, but countries. And that's what we need to be prepared for. So my personal opinion, inflation is happening. It is very real. It is rampant. I don't know if we're ever going to enter a stage of hyperinflation in the US. And I say hyperinflation stating a candy bar costs $50,
right.
A tank of gas costs $1,000. I think, yes, things can 2 or 3x from what they are now. But if we're going to outrun that, we need to purchase assets that go up in value. Assets. And that's going to be the main key. A lot of people are spending tons of money on liabilities right now, right? They're taking their money, their cash dollars, and they're buying video games or TVs or boats or cars, which generally and oftentimes are liabilities. The only way it's an asset is it has to be going up and appreciating in value.
That's so key. So you're making a distinction there between asset and liability. So can you just flesh that out a little bit for us here? What's the difference?
A lot of people will say that their primary residence is an asset, where I bought it, I now own this. Well, you don't. The bank owns it, number one. And number two, if that item that you have requires you to spend money every single month to continue having it, this is a liability. So your home, unless you're Airbnb-ing it or you're renting it out, or you're inviting patriots or special people to come over and have immersive events where you talk about, I don't know, literally anything, gun protection, gun safety, or maybe you're talking about how to take children out into the wild and have really, really safe, amazing adventures like Boy Scouts do, or really going out and spending time and energy. If you're using your domicile as a place of revenue generation, then it's an asset. If you just spend money every single month, it's a liability.
So assets are they're money generators, basically.
Yes.
They're creating money in effect 24/7. Liabilities are sucking money out of your wallet. Assets are putting money into your wallet. That's
precisely. You nailed it, man. And the big question you mentioned was like crypto assets. That's what I'm calling them. They are an asset. These are inflation hedges, very similar to Airbnb. So Airbnb is a humongous company. It's the largest hotel company in the world, and they own 0 properties, right? They're a software company. Well, Airbnb, in my personal opinion, is an extremely great stock to own long-term, because I think, Dr. Turley, you and many other people know exactly how Airbnb makes money. We probably use Airbnb. We probably experienced it. We might travel. We might spend money there. Airbnb is up 35% in the last month.
Wow.
Right? That's a huge asset. So again, if you had taken $100,000 or $10,000 and put that into Airbnb stock, you are now 35% richer in the last 30 days. To take it one step farther, crypto assets or cryptocurrencies are such an amazing inflationary race. They are crushing inflation, even if inflation becomes extended or hyper, let's say 10% a year, which would be astronomically horrible. If that happens, right, cryptocurrencies right now are pacing somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000% a year increase. It's amazing.
It is. It is. It's astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing. Actually, yes, since the last time we chatted, we were talking about this. I think we talked back in May.
Yep.
And cryptocurrency's gone up since May. What was it? 300%? Did you say?
A little bit. Exactly. 300% since you and me did our last interview, and it was dropped on your YouTube channel. Yes, man. Up 267% on average. On average, it depends on which ones. There are some that are up a little bit more, some up a lot more actually, but there are some on average about 260%, which is just astronomical.
It is. It's especially when you're thinking about, when you're planning your retirement at 5% capital gain, on your assets. I mean, these are numbers that are unfathomable. What would you say? I mean, you've been doing this now for a long time. What's the biggest hurdle for people with regard to crypto? Why do people hesitate towards? We were talking earlier, and we know someone who is very hesitant to get into crypto. It's not real money, and it's there's too many choke points. What do you say to what is the hurdle, and what would you say to that?
My opinion, man, the hurdle is a lack of knowledge-based fear. So most individuals believe in what they can hold and touch. A lot of individuals right now are buying guns, ammunition, real estate, maybe cars, maybe watches, bourbon and wine. I'm not saying that these are bad investments at all. In fact, I think all of them are decent investments, but these are all physical assets. It's harder to transfer them from one person to another in a quick speed, in a lot of haste. And it's also very challenging to buy $1 million worth of guns in 18 seconds, right? Well, when you're talking about actually moving sums of money that are large, let me tell you a story that happened on Bitcoin about 3 months ago. There was a transaction that happened, a very public record transaction for $980 million. That transaction happened in 34 seconds and cost the transactor 13 bucks. Now, if anyone out there is listening, if you're a liquid multimillionaire, you probably know how hard it is to move large sums of money, especially quickly. Anything over $7 million is an absolute nightmare. It takes hours, days, sometimes weeks, lawyers, bankers, relationships, signatures, hours and hours and hours worth of your time. That transaction was absolutely massive because it shows people how fast things are and how efficient they are. So we're talking about bottlenecks. There are no bottlenecks. Liquidity in crypto is better than anything else other than stocks and Forex and futures and the regular market. Going back to the reason why people are so afraid of this, they don't know because they can't touch it, they can't see it, and they haven't experienced it. Real estate has been around arguably for thousands of years. We've always needed a place to live. Well, if we come back to now, the US stock market, the biggest market on earth, I'll say that again, the biggest market on earth has only been around 120 years. So if your dad's dad didn't teach your dad or your mom's mom didn't teach your mom, you probably don't know. But this is your opportunity because the question is, when you see something growing of that magnitude, let's go back to the dot-com bubble, right? In 2000, 1999, 1998. When you have stocks that are increasing 600, 700, 800% over the course of a few weeks or months, most people go, well, that can't sustain itself. And rightfully so. But at some point, that shakeout happens, a rebalance occurs, and the greatest economic and financial impact of your life is waiting on the other side of that. Imagine buying Amazon, Cisco, Apple, Intel, I can go down the list, in 2001 or 2002. Hundreds of thousands of percent ago.
Yeah.
Right. That opportunity is here in cryptos, especially when we get a pullback, which I do expect in early next year. And when that pullback happens, you're going to need to know exactly how to buy, how to use the information, how to use the brokers, how to use the exchanges, how to use wallets. You're going to need some level of information, but it is a knowledge-based thing, brother, that people are afraid of. It's not, this is a scam created by the liberals, which is not. This is simply something that people just don't understand. And that's all it is.
Right. Right. Oh, that's brilliant. So good. And I have to say, that's probably why it took so long for me to get involved in crypto. It was the fear of the unknown when also, and the unseen, and you put those two together and you could see it. But there's something about a leap of faith when you start. Well, it doesn't take a lot of faith when you start seeing these kinds of returns and this growth. When you're talking about 200-300%, just a matter of months, it's pretty astonishing. And then I loved how you put it. It is true money because there is true value connected to it. If this is something where you can send money to anyone, anywhere in the world, however much you want, anytime you want, with no mediary, that's a value that will never disappear. It's like trying to explain this. I think you said this. One of us, now I'm going to use your words. It's like trying to explain to somebody email.
Yes.
Was it? That's you. I knew it. I've used that example before.
Well, brother, because I have no idea how email works. Let's be honest. Like, I don't know anything about DNS servers and NTPs and DNS. I have no clue. But when an email goes out and it works, okay, great. You do that enough times. When people say that blockchain or Bitcoin or Ethereum doesn't have value, it's because they've heard that from somewhere.
Right.
And that's all right. Now that's truth. I heard that from one person and that's the truth, but they've never tested it. Like you mentioned, and what I love, and the huge takeaway, listeners, make sure you hear what Dr. Turley just said. When you can exchange that amount of money or any amount of money with no intermediary, with no government, no bank saying that you can or cannot do that, no one can squash that transaction, no matter what country you're in or where you want to send that money to, that is power. And that's what not only Bitcoin and Ethereum offer, but many other cryptos as well.
Any other cryptos as well. Wow. You're very passionate about financial literacy and the importance of being financially literate, perhaps now more than ever. What is, in a nutshell, what is financial literacy, and what practical steps can we take to becoming more financially literate, besides, of course, clicking on the link below and registering for your webinar next week?
That's going to be a big one, man. I'll share something with your listeners that many people may not know about me. So I grew up in a Christian cult. That cult was called Jehovah's Witnesses. So those are the people that, knock on your door. And I was in that until the age of 24. The reason I'm bringing that up is because, well, obviously, not only was I very uninformed about many other aspects of not only religion, but Christianity, but also the witnesses are an extremely impoverished, very scarcity mindset religion, because the world is going to end tomorrow in a horrible fashion. And, it's all bad. It's all negative all the time. My mom, I remember, man, being like 12 years old saying, I can't wait to get my car. Like when I'm 16, I'm gonna drive. And she said to me, man, like, it's not going to happen because everything's going to happen. The world's going to end. All of us are going to die, blah, blah, blah. Very scarcity mindset. So financial literacy is the exact same of understanding with my misunderstanding of religion. It's the exact same understanding with money. We can have negative beliefs, negative thoughts, incorrect thoughts about money. Financial literacy is truly studying it and understanding how it can move and transform. Perfect example. Most of you watching have no idea that you can rent out your stocks. So just like you own a house, so let's say you own 2 houses, right? You live in one. What do you do with the other one? Obviously, you rent it out. Most people have no idea that you can rent out your stocks legally every single month. You can bring in rent money on shares you already own. That is financial literacy. Not only knowing it, but knowing how to do it. And then once you know how to do it, then you can also know how to buy insurance on your stocks, because that also exists. Right? So not only can you rent out your stock, but you can buy insurance on your stock. You do both of them at the same time. You can get into an unlosable position for a certain period of time. That is financial literacy. Knowing how to do that, knowing which buttons you have to press, that's my specialty.
Wow. It's so cool. Again, this is why I love chatting with Jerremy. And I always grab all these nuggets, these gold nuggets from our conversations. It's wonderful. You definitely got to click on that link below and sign up for the webinar next week. You're gonna absolutely love it. Absolutely free. You get them for an hour and a half. We'll try to keep you like an hour and 45, just with lots of questions peppering you, and it'll be absolutely amazing. This could be great. Wrapping it up here, under the Biden administration, I mean, obviously there's some serious inflation, economic downturn happening. People worried about Thanksgiving, just being the most expensive holiday we've had in a long time. And in the midst of all that, though, scholars are talking about the rise, and boy, I mean, you live this stuff. They're talking about the rise of an alternative economy, so we're seeing it like in alt tech and alt media, alt education with a rise in homeschooling, 700% increase just in the last year in some places, and increasingly alt currency, sort of a parallel society in many respects.
Wow. Yeah.
How do you see cryptocurrency as part of this rising of a parallel economy, and how do you see it as being able to really save the economy moving forward?
Here's the crazy thing, man. It's not the rise of it. It was the creation of it. Crypto assets and cryptocurrencies was the creation of an alt economy, because with Bitcoin, I'm going to blow your listeners' minds. I'm getting goosebumps.
Love it.
You never have to use dollars again. I have friends in my ecosystem and in my network who don't even speak in terms of dollars. They use Satoshis, they use ETHs, they use coins, they use bits, right? They use different terminologies. They don't use cents anymore. They use different fragments of cryptos, because if you live in that space, you can have all of your net worth tied up into Bitcoin, just like you can with US dollars, right? Most of everyone listening their money's in US dollars. 85% of my liquid net worth is actually into cryptos. Wow. And you can interact, live and breathe, and do everything you want, transact every way you want with cryptocurrencies. Again, buying goods and services on Amazon, Walmart. You can buy cars with this. You can buy houses with this. You can buy everything that you guys buy right now with cryptocurrencies. I can do it, but I can do it faster, less paperwork, less information, less struggle, less time, more efficiently. And it's all listed on a digital ledger called the blockchain that is it's extremely hard to hack into. So far, nothing has hacked a blockchain yet. I'm not saying it can't happen, but let's just say it's very, very difficult. I think that is power, man. That is extreme power. And I'm not saying you have to do that or you have to live that way, but it gives you the ability to believe that you can or could. And oftentimes, someone's life will change the most once they have a belief that they can make that change.
Unreal. That is so cool. It really is. It's an alternative world.
Yeah.
And it's one of freedom, and it's one of independence, and one of flourishing, one of my favorite words, right?
Yeah.
This is awesome stuff, Jerremy. We have, gang, I just can't recommend Jerremy's work enough. He's blessed my life, and he's going to do the same for you. We've got a webinar next week. It's Tuesday, November 16th at 2 p.m. And you can register for it by simply clicking on the link below. I will be there. I'm going to be sitting there taking notes right along with you and just soaking in Jerremy's wisdom and just his amazing insights into financial freedom and financial flourishing. So click on that link below. Tuesday, November 16th, 2 p.m. Absolutely free webinar. Jerremy, you want to just give us a little précis of what to expect there?
Yeah, absolutely. My goal is just to give people a little bit more insight on cryptocurrencies, why it's safe, and what it looks like. Most people don't know what it looks like because it's untangible. You can't touch it, right? I have a saying, if it has a chart, it has a heart. You can visually chart and identify these things. And you can come up with where to buy and where to sell if you want to. And it's in a really, really immaculate way to, I think, for anyone, doesn't matter your age, your gender, your background, you have the ability to take information and just make it happen.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, I can't wait. All right, gang. Tuesday, November 16th, 2 p.m. Make sure you register right now. Remember, these seats are not unlimited. You're going to have limitations, so make sure you do it right now. Don't wait. Click on that link below. And Jerremy, can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks,
for an awesome webinar. Looking forward to it already.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you so much. Jerremy Newsome, everyone. God bless, man.